We have been discussing the parabola, parabola. As soon as we see a y and an x, then we have to do with a straight line. As soon as we see a y and an x square in the equation, then we know that if we say x is 0, then y is 4, and we can plot that. We have learned that we can turn this into this. We have CD equal force. We went from this and we were expanding it to that. So we can do that again. X squared. Go back. 4x positive 2 squared. And that's the same as that. So as soon as you see that, x squared and you see the positive, so you do x squared and you say the positive, 4x positive 2 squared, which is the 4. Positive 1, that means there is a positive coefficient. That means the parabolas are concave up. There are equal roots. If x is negative 2, then y becomes 0. This is the x line and that is the y line. If x is negative 2, this becomes 0, and y is 0. If you go to this one, we go to do the same thing. This is the same as that. You see that 3 2s are 6 and 3 3s are 9. You learn to see that, but we can do it again. X squared. Remember to see the negative. Negative 6x and negative is positive, 3 squared is 9. So if x is 3, this becomes 0. So if x is 3, the y is 0. Concave up. So there are equal roots. There is only one answer. There's only one answer. So this, you could say that the graph is positive definite. It will never go beyond. This is the shape of the inside of your headlight. The light bulb is in here, called the focus. The weirdest thing is, if the light, this is like a mirror. The light shines here, it goes it bends and goes out straight. That's why it is a headlight. So if x is 3, y is 0, and that is the same thing, so this is also the equation of the axis. The equation of the axis is x is 3. All the x's are 3. In my dictionary, my multi-level dictionary from year 6 to year 12, you can find it under 746. It's the most ingenious book ever invented. That's why the schools don't want it. It's an insult to the teachers. It's an insult to cows that have considered themselves sacred because they have this PhD. We have now not only concave up, but we have sort of a blunt one, a sharper one, and even sharper. The shape, not the concave up, the shape is determined by the coefficient. If x is not, y is not. So that's, if x is not, y is not. If x is not, y is not. So they all have, the axis is actually the y line. If x is 1, y is 2. This is called the standard parabola. I was talking about this. If x is 1, y is already 2. So the y grows twice as fast as the x. X is 1, y is 2. So that is this one. The bigger this coefficient, the narrower the shape. This is called the standard parabola. If x is not, y is not. If x is 1, y is 1. If x is 2, y is 4. If x is not, y is not. If x is 1, y is only half. So if this is a fraction, then it is the shallow one. This is the sharp one. This is the standard one. And if we go to fractions, then we have a shallow one. It has nothing to do with understanding. This is all seeing. You see the two and you know this. No, first, you see the y and it has an x squared, so you know it is a parabola. This is positive, so it's now concave up. Then, if it is bigger than 1, then you know it's sharper. Same thing here. This is the standard one, so that is the... And if it is smaller than 1, it's positive, it's concave up, but much shallower. It has nothing to do with understanding. It's all in the eye. 2 parabola. So you know that you have to plot points, many more than 3. But the good thing is we only have to plot da y, da y. So if we have this point, we can enlarge, double it, and we go here. So you only have to do half. And you need quite a number of points. And then you need a flexi ruler. That means you can drape it along these points and draw the line. Flexi ruler. Made of rubber or something. So, for the parabola we need to plot the zeros. That means x is naught, y is something. Then if we have the two zeros, the point in the middle is the x of the vertex. And we put that in the equation and we find the vertex is the highest point, maximum, or it is. So the point in between the two zeros is the axis. And we put that number in the parabola and then we find the vertex, the y. And of course we need additional points. X is 1, X is 2, X is 3, X is 4, X is 5. You need at least 10 points. You see the y in the x squared, so straight away we know if we x is 1, x is 2, x is 2, y is da. X is naught, y is negative 15. X is naught, y is negative 15. So that's the lowest point of the parabola. This is an easy one to factorize because this is only 1 and we know that two numbers multiply negative 15 and the positive is winning by 2. So we have done that many times before. One number is negative 3 and the other number is positive 5. Multiply negative 15. Positives are winning by 2. But those are not the answers. So y is naught when x is 3, so it's the opposite of those. With the formula we find the answer straight away. Here we have to turn this around. So the zeros are 3 and negative 5. The zeros are 3. Because 3 times 3 is naught and the y is naught. And when x is negative 5, so we have to turn that around. Because negative 5 means naught. So these are the zeros. The roots. Because you have to take the square root to go to the x. The zeros, because if you make the x 0, you find the y. So they have two names, roots or zeros. Now, of course, the point in the middle of these two, the negatives are winning by 2. Half negative 2 is negative 1. And if you put that negative 1 in here, one negative 2, So that is -1 and -15. So if x is -1, so that is the equation of the axis of the center line, and then y is -16, so that is way down, well below the paper. Factorize the, if x is 3, y is 0. If x is -5, y is -5. So we have to turn these things around. The point in the middle is -1. So that is the equation of the axis. -1 is 1, -2, negative dividing by 1, -15. So the lowest point is called the vertex, that is -16. Has nothing to do with understanding. And you wouldn't believe it. I think this is lesson number 6. I'm not going to do it because you cannot do too much at one time. So this is the next lesson, trigonometry. What does it mean? Gono means angle in Greek. Triangle measure. Nobody has ever. We do trigonometry. Do you know what it means? No, of course not. Trigonometry, straight away we think of a right triangle. Right triangle. And it involves calculating the relation, which is the same as the ratio, something to something, between one angle and two sides. One angle and two sides. In a triangle there are only two angles. We have to do with two angles and three sides. We can't have many combinations, of course. For 200 years, teachers have said, learn this for tomorrow. There is one exception. For trigonometry, they have a kind of what they call a mnemonic. Sakatawa. It sounds Chinese. So instead of working with three sides, children have 10 letters in there. Okay, let's be different. We have an A and a H, and a B and a H, and an A and a B. There's only 3 possibilities. Sakatawa, are you insane? They never did professional memory training, of course. They went to teachers' college. Triangle measure. The relationship between angles and sides. So you can only do one angle at a time, and each angle has two sides. And we have to, next lesson, we have to learn. We have to play with the hypotenuse. So I call this H now, and that is B, and that is A. So if you have a blind picture, you put in these names. Opposite angle A is side A, and that cannot be difficult. Opposite capital B is little b, and opposite capital H is the little h. So we have an angle and we have to find either these two, or these two, or these two. How can that be difficult? We have only three names. Why Sakatoa? Amen.